Yes, I'm welcoming you all to today's lecture. I'm sure we all know our names. Our names are on display. Last week, we looked at some topics. What we looked at specifically last week was digital libraries. I think Mr. Ali was online, or you were not around. You didn't participate last week. Were you able to participate?
Yes.
Okay.
No,
okay, maybe part. And then we also looked at the computer-based literature search. Please, some of us are making noise. If we can stop the noise. Thank you. When we looked at the digital libraries last week, what we tried to do was to define what that meant. And we said that digital libraries was, the term digital libraries is interchangeably used with other terminologies, such as electronic libraries, virtual libraries, library without walls, and so on. And we try to differentiate them. You can go back to your course materials. And we also looked at the advantages of having a digital library. One basic one, I will just list two, is storage space. We agree that resources of the library are ever growing. And if the resources are ever growing, then you must find a way of storing them. And the only way is by going virtual, or by at least by incorporating electronic library. And we also looked at bridging the problem of geographical distance. Even as we are communicating now, you can see that we are communicating. I'm looking at you. That is what online can do. So we said it was a welcome idea to have digital libraries so that even resources can be shared. Now, if internationally, resources can be generated in Nigeria and shared abroad, and vice versa. I'll just leave it at that. Please read up your notes. Then we also looked at other online resources. We looked at online resources, we looked at the services, and we remembered an online catalog, which is OPAC. Can we remember OPAC? Please, I want us to read up. We also looked at computer-based literature search. We looked at the steps you need to take in order to search for literature. We listed them and explained what these steps are. Step 1, define your topic. Step 2, choose your keywords. Step 3, identify alternative keywords or terminologies. Step 4, combining keywords. Step 5, limiting your search so that you will not have irrelevancies. Finally, you choose the database you want to use. So we have looked at all that last week. But this week, we are going to be looking at Module 5. Module 5, which is good reading habits and study skills. Please, when we're online like this, I want us to concentrate and relax. The truth is that if you even have questions, you can raise them. We'll trash them. So what we are discussing particularly today, let's be relaxed, is reading habits / study skills. These modules consist of 3 units. The first unit is basic study techniques / skills. The second unit, developing good reading habits. The third unit, handling examinations. So we are going to start with the first unit, basic study techniques, stroke, skills or methods. We are going to be looking at them. I want us to read up so that you will understand why we are going into this study. We are putting into cognizance the fact that most of us are workers. Majority are married women with children. We are busy people. So we need these study skills to be able to maximize our academic achievements. That is the reason why we need these reading skills. No waste of time. So the first step we are going to be looking at, as I explained, is step in developing good study skills. What are those things that you need to take in order to develop good study skills? The first step here listed for you is making and keeping a study schedule. Making and keeping a study schedule. So please, we are not expected to just read our study to random studying. You read when you want to. You don't have a study schedule. You are expected to plan your study schedule so that you will know the exact time you have exact subjects. You are expected to plan. When you have that kind of a plan, you'll be motivated to keep it. So making and keeping a study schedule is very important. Then studying in an appropriate setting. That's number 2 points. You have to ensure that you study in an appropriate setting. An example of an appropriate setting is the library. Why is it appropriate? It is conducive. Most times the cooling system in the library is working. The electronic section, the e-library, the resources you need are available. If you need an encyclopedia, quickly you can quickly reach out for one. A dictionary, you quickly reach out for one. Apart from that, it's quiet. Anybody in the library has come to do serious academic work. The main fact that you see others engaging in serious academic work will encourage you to also work. You are not advised to just stay in the comfort of your home to study. And even if you have to stay at home to study, please, you must have a study room. So studying in an appropriate setting is very important. All this will help you. Then equipping your study area with all materials needed. If you have a study room, for instance, in your room, in your house, you must ensure that your course materials are available there. And all of those materials, those other textbooks, recommended textbooks, and other relevant textbooks you have borrowed from the library, you keep them around. Keep these materials handy. It's very important. When you have handy materials, things to study, you find yourself studying. So you must always keep them handy. And even for your wards, your children, ensure that you buy books and keep them handy. Put them where these children will see them. This will encourage them to study. Not relying on inspiration for motivation. You cannot wait till when I'm motivated. No, I don't feel like reading. Today I feel like reading. Tomorrow I don't feel like reading. That is why we started by saying that you must keep a study schedule. It's not a question of motivation. You must have a particular time for studying and a particular place where you want to go and study. And you have to keep to it. That way you are gradually motivating yourself to study. You don't leave your study to inspiration when you feel like and when you don't feel like. It won't work that way. Take good notes as insurance against forgetting. Even though we all know that you have your study course materials, it's just not enough to keep reading only your course materials. You can read your course materials and then you can also make notes from those course materials. Why are we saying so? Because during the examination, especially, you know, the time is short for you. And during the examination, you will not be able to refer back to those bulky course materials. But if you have kept good notes, jottings, as you study your course materials, it becomes easy for you, very handy. You can quickly flip through, you know, to ensure that you don't forget any vital points before your examination. It's very important. And then also keeping a good notes. We are in National Open University now, online student, we have our course materials. But even for those that are in conventional universities, you need to, they keep notes. When the lecturer is lecturing, they take notes. These notes, you are expected to also go back, refer to textbooks, refer to other good students' notes, and fill up any gap, and make sure that your notes is neat and handy. Because you will need them close to exam. It's not textbooks and your course materials that you will be carrying about. Handy notebooks will help you to ensure that you don't forget most of the points. Again, you have to overlearn your course materials. You have to overlearn your course contents. Whatever you are taught, whatever course material that is being given to you, learn to overlearn it. Overlearning means it's not just that I understood it. It means you are reading it over and over. It means studying it over and over. Studies have it that when you overlearn a material, when you overlearn anything, you don't tend to forget it under examination condition. You know that most times under examination condition, we become tensed, you know. You become tense and you easily forget. But when you overlearn a material, a course content, you discover that no matter the circumstance, you are able to recall, and your recall rate will be fast. So don't just leave it, I have understood it, I've just read it once and I'm okay. You just cannot be okay. Read it over and over, and that means you have to start reading well ahead of time. That means you have to give it, you have to concentrate. So that is, you have to overlap. Then in order to help you, we also looked at the SQ3R reading method. SQ3R reading method. These are all reading methods. There are several reading methods that are out there that can help comprehension and retention. This is one of them. This one is a known one. It can help retention and comprehension and retention. So what do we mean by SQ3R? The S there simply means survey. The S means survey. The Q means question. The R means read. The second R means recite. And the last R, the third R, means review. Now, what do we mean by survey? When we say survey, we simply mean you should skim.
I will lock this down. Don't disturb me again.
Hello? We simply mean that you should skim through your reading material, whatever content you have before you to study. We mean that you should just quickly skim through it. And skimming through is to give you a focus, to give you a general main idea of whatever is before you. So when you skim through, what do? You look at the title, you look at the subtitle, You look at the questions raised by the author. Those are the things you do. You look at the summary and the ending. This will help you to understand the main idea and the main content of that particular reading material. Then Q, which is question. What do we mean by question? The questioning helps you to remain focused. It is very important that you question yourself. Most authors have what we call behavioral objectives, even before the main contents. They would have told you what the objectives of the reading material is or are. Look at those objectives. You can, sometimes they frame it, it is written in form of question. So you have to look at these questions. And you yourself, based on the objectives, you can frame questions. Ask yourself questions. Don't just go into any reading blindly. You have to have a focus. And to have a focus, you must ask yourself certain questions. You must look at the questions the author is asking and the questions you have also framed by yourself that will help you to remain focused while you are studying. Studying is not by chance. You have to be strategic. Then you look at the first R in the 3 R's is read. When you have asked all these questions, you have skimmed through, you have asked questions, then now you begin to read. You begin to read. Most times at this first reading, you are likely to read slowly. When you meet difficult terminologies, you can look it up in the dictionary. You don't have to be so fast. If the concepts become so difficult, you can slow down your reading. Read and be meticulous in that reading. Make sure you read. Some authors will tell you that just the first reading, you just read fast. Just read through, even though you are not comprehending, just keep reading. They believe that somehow you are retaining some things. Then the second time of reading, you now begin to read slowly. But all what we are saying is read. If you requires, reread. The first R means read. It can also mean reread. Do you understand? You slow down when you have difficult concepts. Then after that, you now go to recite. What is the essence of this recite? Recite also means to recall. The reason is for you to know how far you have understood the course contents. Now, when you say recite, it could be verbal. Recite can also be written. You know that. All is saying, write down what you have understood. What you have read, what have you understood? You can write it down. You can attempt to answer those questions that you framed to know whether you have really comprehended. Very important. Then when you attempt to answer these questions, you will discover that it's not all the questions that you will be able to answer. You may not be able to answer all the questions. You may not be able to recall all vital points. And you will note this when you are recalling. Then you go to review. When you have read, you have recalled, try recalling. You go and review. Now review means you have now finished, you have already recited, but there are issues. Maybe there are questions you were not able to answer. You go back to your reading material, reread it, review it. Why wasn't I able to answer this question? How was I supposed to answer it? When you go back and you review your work, you discover that you will retain what you have read. If you follow this method in your study, most of what you have read will be retained, and you will no longer find it difficult to comprehend. Then we will be going on to Unit 2, developing good reading habits. developing good reading habits. How do you develop good reading habits? You develop good reading habits by also developing good reading skills. You have to develop good reading skills. If you don't have good reading skills, it's impossible for you to develop good reading habits. And how do you develop good reading skills? First and foremost, when you are reading, you must read for contents. When you are studying, no matter the subject, read for content. What do we mean by read for content? We mean you should know the keywords, the main ideas in that whatever you are reading, in that reading material. Underline them, the keywords, the key phrases, the main contents. You have to underline them. So it is very important. When you have done that, while you are reading, like we earlier mentioned, that you can actually come across unfamiliar words. These words that are unfamiliar, you can actually go and check up your encyclopedia, check up your dictionary to make sure that you know this, because they will aid comprehension. But we are telling you that you should not even try it outside the context. You know, a word can mean a different thing based on the context. Do we know that? So a word can actually, so you have to make sure that you put that same word in that same context. Even without checking your dictionary sometimes, you may not know the meaning of a particular word, but because of the context in which it is written, you are able to fathom on your own. You are able to know what the meaning of that word. So it's very important that you read within context to get contextual meaning. That's what we mean there. So it's very important. Then we also advise you to know some literary devices, because some authors don't just write straightforward. They're writing, they use some literary devices. Some can use hyperbole, for instance, personification, and so on. If you don't know, you will think that you may not understand. So some of these you have to know. When you are reading, especially when you want to build your reading habits, good reading habits, don't be scared and don't rush it. Don't be discouraged. Rome was not built in a day, they say. Keep reading. Take it little by little. Don't be discouraged. The more you read, the more you build your reading habits. So don't be discouraged. I beg, I read yesterday, I did not comprehend. I'm not ready, I'm not in the mood. You keep studying, you have no option. Keep studying and you will build a good reading habit. Then you have to also make reading pleasurable. Connect it with your everyday life. You can give yourself reading tasks. Connect it with your everyday life. Let it become pleasurable to you. I used to tell some of my students, the library users, during orientation. You know, most of you are married. Some of you have even left academics for a long time, and you are just trying to come back. So I just encourage them. I say, we have newspapers and magazines in this library. Can you please start with that? Read from what you know to what you don't know. That is from known to unknown. You can read literatures, you can read novels, you can also read newspapers, magazines. Then before you plunge yourself into proper core academic work. That way, you are helping yourself and sensitizing yourself. Associate reading with pleasure. Then decide what you should read. What are you going to read? When on time. That's why we say you should always have your reading schedule. You should be able to say, I'm reading GSC 104 at so time. Don't leave it to random. You don't say, okay, my reading is at 4 p.m. When I get there, I will decide what to read. No. You have to apportion time to each course subjects you have registered for. We are going to be looking at handling examination. Handling examination. You will be writing your exam now in a few weeks' time. And some of your colleagues, senior colleagues, are already writing the exams. But we discovered that some of them are not really prepared. And that is why you have so much malpractice during examination. And so we felt that it is important for you to know how to prepare for your examination. The number one point there is that you start studying early. It's very important. Don't heap up your study. Don't say, no, I'm very busy. My job will not allow me, my children will not allow. Eventually, they will allow you. So once you register for that course, please do plan and begin to study early. It's very important that you start studying early. Then, even the difficulty level of the course content will determine how early you want to start. The difficulty level. And if it's so difficult, ensure that you start your studying very early so that you would have covered your course content. Then sort out your subject materials. Make sure that you sort out each subject materials. For each subject, you have your course material. You have the recommended test. You even have the unrecommended tests that are relevant. Sort them out. For each course material, you also have past questions. Sort them out. Be ready for your exams. Then find out about that examination. Don't just go into that examination blindly. Some of you will be writing electronic exam. You have to find out, ask questions. What does it take? In what form? Are they essay? Fill up the gap? What does it take? Ask yourself those questions. Where is the venue for the exam? Where is the exam timetable? And how is the exam graded? All these questions. What will I need to be admitted to the examination hall? Even up to today, I was right there at the examination center. Some students were still not ready. They don't know what they are supposed to bring to be admitted to the examination hall. You will be sent back or delayed. If it's in your car, you will have to go and get it or go back home. So all these are very important. You have to be prepared for your exam well ahead of time. Find out what it takes for you to be admitted in. Review past questions. We have past questions in the library for you. Please make sure that you find out how the questions are set, how they apportion scores, marks. Some may carry higher marks, so that it will even help you to know how to even interpret your questions. You should be able to start practicing how to interpret questions. Then that way, the exam becomes easy for you. You should not panic. Why would you panic when you go late to examination hall? Don't panic. It means you should overlearn. Read and be confident. Then make sure that you don't go late to examination hall. Anything that will cause panic, unnecessary panic, eliminate it. Make sure you are well prepared. You know your examination venue. You have all that you require. Why will you now panic? You have studied well. There is no need to panic, because panic will make you forget some vital points. There's no need to panic. Use your reading time wisely. Perhaps they will ask you to read, maybe give you 5 minutes to read your questions. During that time, please make sure that you use it wisely. Be careful to also interpret your questions. In interpreting your question, read it over and make sure that your question is well interpreted. Finally, please make sure that you review your answers. Do your work and make sure that you leave little time to review your answers. Read through again, review your answers, and make sure that you have written all that you were supposed to write for a particular question. Thank you for listening. On that note, we are ending this module. If you have any question, please, you can raise. Do you have any question? We have just maybe how many minutes left? We have few minutes. So we have few minutes left. So let's just, if you have questions, let's take them.
Madam, GST 104. Yeah. GST 104 is a new.
Hello?
Course.
It's a new course, yes? It just newly introduced.
Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. GST 104 is
Hello,
a new
madam.
course. Yes, I'm hearing you.
This course is a new course.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. How do we get the maybe past questions or?
No. For you, for your level,
because you talk about a past question.
No, you won't get past question for this one.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
You won't, because it's an electronic exam. You'll be taking an electronic exam. But try to review the questions at the end of each unit.
Okay.
Try to review them. That will help a great deal. Okay? Okay. Do you have any other questions?
Yes. No. I'm not.
So we'll be ending this. So meet you again next week, Tuesday at same time. Thank you. Okay, bye.
Have a nice week.
I wish you the same.